Hi everyone and welcome to Pie Week at Virtual Village Hall. We're making Mexican shepherd's pie today, just for a bit of a difference. Oh, I've got a very big light across there, so hopefully that won't bother anyone. It'll just give me a halo. So I'll wait for everyone to jump online. But I will just let you know that the Virtual Village Hall have a survey at the moment that they would love your help with. They would like your feedback as to how Virtual Village Hall has impacted on your health and well-being, and also any, if you can let them know if there's any improvements that they could make. So please do have a look at the link that will be put up, and if you can take part in the survey, they would really appreciate it. So if you are baking or watching along today, please do say hi. This is really interactive. I love hearing from you. Tell me if it's snowing where you are. We had a bit. I got excited that it was going to settle. It didn't. But do tell me what you're doing today, and I will chat along. But if you are baking along with me and you missed something, just ask me to repeat. I'm looking at your comments as I go along. So, looking at doing pies, I know that typically it would have been pastry or maybe a proper potato top pie. Now, my kids don't really like shepherd's pie. I don't know if you have the same problem, but they're really anti it. So I found a way around this, which is basically to make like a Mexican chili and then top it with potato. And I think sweet potato works really well with this. You don't have to use sweet potato if you don't like it. You can use your regular white potatoes, or indeed, if you think that's not for me, you could just make the meat part of this and stick it with some rice, and you've got a nice chili. So anyway, let's make a start. I've got a kilo of sweet potatoes, which is 3 quite large sweet potatoes. And I want to peel those and stick them into a pan and cover them with some water and get those bubbling away so I can mash those later. And then we can get on with the meat dish, or the meat part of the dish, whilst these are cooking. So just very quickly, I got my son to peel potatoes the other day, and he's not quite got the knack of it at 13. I think we had like little chippings, and most of it went on the floor. So we're working on that. But luckily, I'm managing to get through it pretty fast. This is a nice meal to do in advance. So whilst I'm cooking it now, if you wanted to, you could actually do the meat part in a slow cooker and just leave it on low. I can make this and then leave it on the side covered and then pop it in the oven nearer to when the kids get home. So dinner's ready for them when they come in starving hungry. Or it's not too long to do to make it there and then when you're ready for it. But I just like how versatile this is. And I will be making suggestions of how you can change it up, maybe hide a few more veg in it. Right, last potato. How many people use peelers and how many people use knives? Hi, Irene. Nice to have you with us. Let's say for Pie Week, we are making Mexican shepherd's pie. Because my kids love it and they won't eat shepherd's pie. They don't do a lot of stews and pies actually, but this one I've managed, this is a winner. And my husband, who is trying a lower carb diet, sweet potatoes are lower in carbs than your regular potato. So a nice healthy choice there. Right, let me just pop these away. I'll get all the... Put those out of the way. Right. For being a bit quick, I'm going to chop the sweet potato up. Chop the sweet potato up into more bite-sized pieces, and that will just. Oh gosh, they're hard, these ones. That will just quicken the cooking time. To have more surface area. So. I'm just going to cut these into thirds, turn them round, and cut them again. So I've got square bite-sized pieces. So if I show you, nice bite-sized pieces. So last one. So I'll do that in half because we've got an end. And then I've just got a medium-sized pan, and I'm going to tip these into the pan and everywhere else. There we go. There we go. And once you've got these done, cut that end off because it looks a bit nasty. I will be covering them with water, and we can get on with the mincemeat. So, as long as we've got some bite-sized pieces, hopefully this will only take about 15 minutes to cook. There we go. So that's a bit thin, that one, but you know what? I'll just do bigger slices so that they cook at the same speed. There we go. So if you're watching this back later, you know, as I said, it's good to make in advance and just have ready to go. Stick it in your slow cooker, obviously without the sweet potato bit, and make the chili part in the slow cooker is a nice one. I've been using the slow cooker a lot more recently. I particularly like chicken thighs in the slow cooker. Oh, making quick work of this is good. Chuck them in. If you don't want to make such a big pie, you can, of course, reduce everything, make half the amount. I have suggested quite a large oven-proof dish, but equally you could make this amount and put them into individual ones. Stick some in the freezer or some in the fridge, have some ready to cook. Choice is yours. Right, so that is my sweet potato, and I want to cover this with water. So just bear with me, guys, whilst I go and put some water in this. There we go. You'll notice I am by the hob today because that would be the easiest place to do this, but I'll just have to disappear for draining and filling with water. Right, so I've got a lid on my potatoes, and I'm going to season that with some salt. I'll just give that a little bit of a stir in, and then I'm going to put that on a medium heat and get those cooking. Right. Medium heat. There we go. Right. Now, in fact, you know what? I'm going to change the position of these so you can see what I'm doing. Let's put the potatoes over there. There we go. Right. So that was nice and quick and easy, and that's getting them going. So now for the meat. As I said, you can do this as a meal on its own if you don't want to do it as a pie. But I do like a pie. So for this, you're going to want to start with an onion and a medium carrot, or a large carrot if you want a bit more carrot in it. Unlike baking, which obviously I do a lot of, the cooking, you can make it more fit you, as long as you get the kind of liquid quantities right, really. There's so many ways you can do your own thing within a recipe. So I'm using a red onion. But you can use a white onion, a red onion, shallots, and increase or decrease the amount. My daughter can't stand onions, so we don't tend to go for massive onions in this house. But equally, if you like onion, add a bit more, or if you've got one that needs using up. Carrot, I'm going to stick to one medium carrot, but you know, if you've got some courgette or you've got some red pepper or something, or mushroom that you wanted to chuck into this, you can. You can really make it suit what you like. That's what I love about cooking. It's like, I don't know if they still run it, Ready Steady Cook. I used to love that, kind of making things kind of out of nothing. It's fun. Right, so I'm just peeling my red onion, and I'm just going to chop it one way into some strips and chop it the other. There we go. And this one. I don't do really tiny bits of onion. Maybe I should. Maybe Erin would eat it if she couldn't see the onion in it. But to be honest, I'd rather she just gets used to it a bit and the different textures of food. Carrots, I'm just going to peel it. So I'll shove my onion over there. So I'm just going to peel it and top and tail it. But yeah, feel free to use different veggies within this. It's completely up to you. There we go. So cut the top off it. Cut the bottom off it. I always chop it in half. I don't know if you can see the chopping board so easily. There you go. I'll just bring it down a bit. So I'm going to chop it in half just for ease of using it. Bridge cut it. So I'm putting my hands across, going down the middle, and then always cut flat surface down. Now I'm going to make these pieces quite small because I want them to cook quite fast. So there we go. That's those. I'll bring it up to camera so you can see how small I've made them. So we're looking at that kind of size, like fingernail size almost, maybe a bit bigger than that. Little finger, top of your little finger. So just do this one. This isn't so big, so I'll just do this in half and just dice down those. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so that's my veg that I'm going to put in. Now, to my pan, I'm using a wide-based pan so that things don't spill out. You can use a frying pan, just be careful if it's really shallow that you don't go over it. I'm having to widen my leg stance so that I fit into screen because I'm 6 foot and I want you to be able to see the worktop and the top of my head and not garrot myself. So I'm using olive oil, but you can use vegetable oil, sunflower oil, and you just want to put some into the pan and just warm that up, ready to put our veg in. I've just put a good enough amount, not too much. Nice splash. And then we'll add our vegetables. Do you like red onions? I do find them quite more versatile because I use them a lot in salads as well. Right, get some heat into this. I think it's the right day for a pie as well. It's quite cold, isn't it? Yeah, I'm kind of getting all excited about spring, but we're not quite there yet, are we? All right, so I'm putting the onion in and I'm putting the carrot in. There we go. Putting the carrot in the back. There we go. Okay, so once it's into the pan, just give that a stir. And all you want really is to soften this. So just give it a stir, let it cook up. And I'm going to come and say hello over here. If you are online and watching and you have any questions, do feel free to comment. And I'm going to take the opportunity again to say if you could help the Virtual Village Hall by looking at their survey, they would be very, very grateful. Just tell them, how it's helped you and anything they could do to improve it would be great. So, Irene, are you baking along with us or are you watching for later? And is it snowing? I need to know if it's snowing. I'm very excited about tomorrow that we might actually get a bit of snow. But I'm in Hampshire and it doesn't do a lot of that in the south. So I'm just using a wooden spoon. You can use silicone if you want to use a silicone spoon instead. And just let that just soften up. The carrot does take a bit of time. It can soften up a bit more because obviously we're going to put some liquids in it, but we're just giving it a head start on the rest of the ingredients. Oh, Irene's commented, beautiful sunshine, but cold. We haven't got sunshine. I wonder where you are, Irene. But yeah, it's really cold at the moment, isn't it? We've been going around National Trust properties recently with our membership card, and we had a picnic last weekend, and it was freezing, really, really cold. Right, that's sizzling. This is just on a medium to high heat at the moment. And I'm just going to give that a little bit of a stir so it doesn't stick to the pan. Argyle, very nice. Right, so if I let you know whilst that's doing its thing, that I'm using 500 grams of beef mince. Now, if you don't want to use beef mince, you can change this up. You could use turkey mince. I'm all for, if it works for you or it makes it more healthy for you, then yeah, you can swap that up. And I imagine you could use a corn as well. Or equally, this is an idea, if you don't want to have a meat dish, you could do things. I'm a bit obsessed with flat mushrooms at the moment, and adding chunky mushrooms into things that add that kind of meatiness to a dish, obviously without it being meat. We'll just give that a bit longer, let them cook down a bit, and then I will add my mince. Time for a bit of a coffee. Oh, and you've got beautiful sunshine in Lincolnshire. It looks like it's going to snow again here. It's just very grey, white skies. Right. It's looking good. The onion, if I just tip it a bit, the onion is looking quite shiny and we're getting more translucent. The carrot needs a bit longer. So we'll just give it a minute. And so we're going to bake this as well, so it has got time to soften during all the rest. But we'll just give it a minute longer. More coffee. Right. You're making afternoon tea this morning. I think you can sense that we're getting more into spring because of what people are choosing to get themselves as treats. Right, okay. So I've got 500 grams of mince. If you've got a bit more or a bit less, it's fine. I'm just going to add that to my pan. And I'm just going to break that up with with my spoon. And we just want that to brown. There we go. Smelling good. Now, it's very compacted. I think the packaging has been changed on the mince to reduce the amount of plastic, which is great. But it's kind of vacuum packed it, and it's really dense now. So I'm just spending a bit more time just breaking that up into little pieces. Right, I'll come back to that in a minute. You can see that's in my pan. I've got the mince and the carrot and the onion. Now I want to add some garlic to this as well. Oh, Jan, I always microwave my carrot a little bit first and add it to the meat. Good idea. So I cheat a little bit with my garlic. So I either use a clove of garlic or I use the easy chopped garlic. A, because it's easy, and B, because I seem to always smell of my fingers where I grate it, always smell garlicky. So I'm going to avoid that today. I bought myself a lovely plate. What's that? Has anyone got one of those? They're really good at grating down ginger and garlic. No amount of lemon juice or fairy liquid seems to get rid of the smell of garlic on my fingers. So either a clove of garlic or a teaspoon of easy garlic. And I've just added that to my mince with my carrots and onions in there. And just give that another stir. Now, I do like it when we get some tips from viewers as well. I think it's all about sharing, isn't it? And getting some good ideas. I would like to know, for chili, my husband swears by putting chocolate in his chili. I'm not a massive fan. I know you can get chili chocolate, but I'm not a fan. So I'd like to know who puts chocolate in their chili. Is it very traditional, or is this a more, new thing or novel thing? I know you can like coffee in chocolate to bring out the flavour of the chocolate, and maybe chocolate in chili does the same, but I just can't bring myself to do that to a good bar of chocolate. All right, I've broken that mince down more. So you can see it's now browned. I've got a few little pink bits left, but not much. And I'm just put that back on the heat for a minute and let that keep going. Now, I've got some harissa paste. Put it the right way. This is my rose harissa, but any sort of harissa paste. It's got all the kind of spices and flavours that you want for a chili. So I do love putting this in. So I'm going to put 3 tablespoons. It is a lot. If you don't have that much, just go with what you've got. I'm going to have to do heaped teaspoons because that's what I've picked out the drawer. I'm going to go for 3 really big ones there. And add that to the mix. And I'm just looking at my potatoes, and they are really bubbling up. So I'm just going to turn them down a tad. Don't want them overly watery. So that was 3 tablespoons of harissa paste. And then I want to put in the equivalent of 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. Heather says, that sounds like a great twist. Should add a bit of spice. Yeah. Well, it's really funny because my kids just won't eat kind of stews and shepherd's pies and cottage pies. They have no interest. But if you make it spicy and do it like a chili, they love it. So I'll go with that. So I've put about the equivalent of a tablespoon of tomato paste into this as well. I've actually not stirred it in yet. And then a splash of Worcestershire sauce or Henderson's. I suppose you could go for a tablespoon of that. It's a splash. Bring all the flavour into it now. And then I'm going to put in my tomatoes, my chopped tomatoes, just giving it a bit of a stir, and my kidney beans. If you don't have harissa paste, try something like rasaloo. That's got a lot of nice flavours as well. You know what? I've bought peeled tomatoes, not chopped. That will teach me for not looking. I'll do it manually. Kids, I know. I've actually got quite good adventurous kids on the whole. My son is doing Duke of Edinburgh at the moment, and he's been doing cooking as his skill, which has been brilliant. So once a week, he's been cooking. But he had this great idea that he wanted to make a beef Wellington as his kind of final official week. Although we're going to get him to keep cooking once a week, he really wanted to kind of do a wow meal. And I stupidly let my husband and him go to the butcher's counter just to find out how much the fillet of beef would be. That was my silly move because that was really expensive when they came back. He was grinning a lot, and I was terrified that my 13-year-old was going to burn a very expensive joint of meat. But actually, he did the most fantastic job of it. But now he's got to taste the fillet of beef and beef Wellington. So he's going to have to calm that down and go back to baked beans on toast, because that's not going to be a one for every week, that's for sure. But it was excellent. Right, I'm just, because I've bought whole tomatoes, I'm just using my spoon to break them up, but actually it didn't take too much effort. We're good. So it's looking so much more like a chili now. I'll bring this up to camera so you can see. There you go. You see that? Lovely looking. So give that a stir up. So just to go over that, I added 3 tablespoons of harissa paste, a tablespoon of tomato paste, the can of chopped tomatoes, and a can of kidney beans. Now, I did already rinse out my kidney beans. I know sometimes you can get them with a chili sauce. You could keep that in it if you wanted, but mine were in water, so I just rinsed those out before the workshop. Right, let's add the remainder. So I've got a stock cube, beef stock cube. Now, obviously, if you were doing this with a turkey mince or something, then change this to a chicken stock cube or a vegetable. But they always say crumble it in, but I've never quite managed a crumbly stock cube. So I'll just break it up a bit and then we'll stir it in. And then I've got some ground cumin. Is that half a pint of Guinness you have on the worktop? No, it's black coffee, but good idea, Heather. I might change that for next month. So I could tell you it's coffee, and it could be Guinness though. So I've got ground cumin. I need another teaspoon. There we go. Ground cumin. I'm just going to put in half a teaspoon of that. There we go. And I'm going to put half of paprika in. It's all bubbling away nicely now. There we go. Bring these back over here. And just give that a stir in. And then really, if you want to leave that with, even if you want to put the sweet potatoes in, that is a really quick, nice chili. You could add some coriander to that and serve it with rice. You know, if you wanted to indulge, get some nachos, some guacamole, some sour cream, and you've got yourself a really nice dish. But as it's pie week, and this is one of my kids' favourite, I'm going to turn that down to simmer. And I'm going to just go and check on my potatoes, which are bubbling away. And I'm going to just prod a fork into them to see how we're doing. They are soft. So they're just going to fall off the fork, which is great. So I'm going to turn the heat off, and I'm going to quickly go and drain those. Bear with me, guys. There we go. So I've got a nice big pan of sweet potato in there. I'm going to season it. Now, if I was doing regular potato, I'd be putting butter and milk into it. I do find that sweet potato seems to go mushier. So you could put a little bit of butter, but I tend to mash it and see what it's like first, and then only add it if it needs it. So I've got myself a masher, and I'm just going to squish it, but there's just no effort to breaking it down. So I just don't think it needs very much other than some seasoning. So again, if you are, like my husband, trying to avoid too many carbs, or, you know, the extra bit of butter here and there, this is a really good alternative because you just don't need to add very much. And it's, you know, it's mashed up really quickly. But I would season. Right, that is pretty good. There we go. Give that a nice bit of a mush. There we go. And I will now move my chopping board and bring over my dish. So I've gone for, this is about, I think it's 24 by, so you can see me, a 24 by 24 centimetre pie dish. It's oven proof. If you don't have something this big, you could do 2, but, or, you know, go for something rectangular, but that's hopefully what it's going to fit into. So I'm going to just pour my meat into the base. Like so. Get my glasses steamed up in the process, I'm sure. Goodness me. Whew, can't see anything. There we go. Right, that's all my meat inside of it. And then just level it out. I do like quick and easy midweek meals. There we go. So that's my meat sauce in the base there. Oh, you can see the steam coming off of that, can't you? And then I'm just going to scrape off the mash from my masher. Like so. And then I'm going to dab on the mash on top and then join it together. I think if you're not careful, if you put it all in the middle, it will just weigh the middle down and then it's really hard to pull it to everywhere you want. So I'm just going to dab it around the dish, just a little spoonful here, spoonful there, and gradually just coat the top. Get in there. Now, if you wanted to, you could pop this on and you could put a little bit of cheese on the top. But it's pretty good as it is. And if you can get it to go to the sides, it will just... Ow! Don't do that, it hurts. Try and get the potato to go all the way to the edges. And then it just kind of helps prevent the sauce from escaping. If your dish looks really full, then maybe cook it on a baking tray so that it just catches any drips. I do that with my lasagna as well. I tend to do very deep filled lasagnas, and then I cook it onto a baking tray as well, just so that any little bits of drippy cheese sauce goes onto that and not in my oven. There we go. Let's put that down. I'm just going to cook. Now, I like bits sticking up. I don't like it over smooth because then those little bits get caught in the oven. So it doesn't matter if it looks rustic on the top. It's pretty good. There we go. So that is my Mexican shepherd's pie. You see a nice layer of meat on the bottom and then a nice sweet potato mash to top it. And as I said, if you want to put a little bit of cheese on top, you can, but that is entirely your preference. Now, it is 3 o'clock. If you have made it now, or you want to make it in the middle of the day in the future, what I'm going to do is let that cool a little and then cover it. If you let it cool completely, you could put it in the fridge for later. I'm probably going to cook it a bit sooner than that, so I'm going to let it cool a little on the side and keep it covered. And then when I'm ready to cook it, I'm going to heat the oven up to 180 and I'm going to pop it in for about 20 minutes just to heat it through. It's all cooked now, so even if you didn't put it in, it's all ready to eat. But if you just want it to just kind of just crisp on top a little bit, and obviously reheat it for later, I do about 180 for 20 minutes and it's ready to serve. As it is, or put a little bit of salad on the side if you want, but to be honest, just as it is a really good meal. So if there's any questions, please do ask. Otherwise, I will leave you to your baking, and I really hope you have a go at it. Please do put the comments and your photos underneath. It's really good to see what people have done. And please don't forget about the survey. If you could help Virtual Village Hall by filling it in, they'd love to know what you think. So do check out the link and have a look for them. That's it. We're back next month with hot cross buns because it's April, it's Easter, so we'll be making hot cross buns. So do look out for that. But in the meantime, enjoy Pie Week, enjoy your Mexican shepherd's pie, and I will see you again soon. Thanks ever so much, guys. Bye.